Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, the latest videos have been lots of Mediterranean, Greek, Spanish. So I missed making something Indian. I missed the Indian cuisine. So today I'm back with the Indian cuisine because it's one of my favorite. It's so diverse and so rich, and it's just so good. I mean, there's nothing to not like in it. So it's one of my favorites. And today I'm back with paratha. I love paratha. I don't think I ever mentioned it, but yeah, it is so good, and I decided to make it, and I'm presenting you today with two. So aloo paratha and gobi paratha, cauliflower and potato, because why not? So let's show you guys how to make them because they're amazing. To make these parathas, for the filling, here we have two potatoes that we've steamed. You can also boil them. We'll mash them anyways. Half a head of cauliflower that we're going to grate. 2 medium onions, and all of this will be split between these two. 2 medium onions, 3 chilies, tablespoon ginger garlic paste, 4 tablespoons of coriander. And for our spices, here we are going to use a teaspoon each. So this is garam masala, this is mango powder, coriander powder, cumin powder, and here we'll use half a teaspoon chili powder, and quarter teaspoon turmeric, and of course salt and pepper, and some oil. And for the dough, we're going to need half a kilogram of flour, and salt and water. Our first step is to grate the cauliflower. So for the gobi filling, here we have heated up our pan, and now we're going to add some oil, about 2 tablespoons. So now we're going to add half the onions and half the chilies, and we're going to saute those. So I forgot to show you how it looks like once you grate the cauliflower or the gobi. This is what it should look like, and we're going to let the onions saute with the chilies until nice and translucent or transparent. So as you can see, the onion has changed colors. Now we're going to add half the ginger garlic paste amount, and we're going to saute that in there as well. So after a few minutes, and once you don't smell that raw garlic smell anymore, now we're just going to add in the cauliflower. And now we're just going to saute the cauliflower. So I believe that some people just grate it and put it in the filling, but we wanted to saute it for a bit. So now we're just going to add in our spices, a teaspoon of garam masala, a teaspoon of coriander powder, and a teaspoon of cumin powder. We have half a teaspoon chili powder and a quarter teaspoon turmeric, and lastly a teaspoon of mango powder. And we're just going to saute all the spices into the cauliflower. So once you've sauteed all the spices in, you're going to add in salt and pepper, and be careful with the salt because we'll also add salt into the dough. Pepper. And we'll saute all of that again. So as you can see, the cauliflower's volume has kind of just lessened. It's less than it was when we started it, and it smells amazing right now. So now we're just going to take it off the heat and put it in a bowl so that we can move on to our next step. Now we're going to add half the coriander amount. and we're going to give it a mix. Once you've mixed in the coriander, you're just going to set it aside so that it cools down. So for our potato filling, first thing first is we're going to just mash the potatoes. So for our potato filling, we're going to do the same thing that we've done with the cauliflower one. So we'll add oil to a heating pan, about 2 tablespoons. So once the pan is hot enough, we're going to add in the remainder of the onions. To the onions, we're adding in the chilies, and we're going to saute them. We're going to saute them until transparent, and then we'll add in the ginger garlic paste. So as you can see, it's nice and transparent. Now we'll add in the remainder of the ginger garlic paste, and we're going to saute that in until you don't smell that raw garlic smell anymore. So I don't smell that raw garlic smell anymore, and now we'll add in the spices, the same as the last filling, but just we're going to add it before adding in the potatoes, just so it's easier to mix and work with. So a teaspoon of garam masala, a teaspoon of coriander powder, a teaspoon of cumin powder, half a teaspoon chili powder, quarter teaspoon turmeric, and lastly a teaspoon of mango powder. And we're just going to saute all of them together. And lastly, we're going to add in salt and pepper. And again, be careful with the salt, because we're going to put salt into the dough, some pepper, and we're going to saute them into the spices, and then we'll add in the potatoes. So now we'll add in the potatoes, and we're going to try to incorporate the spices and all the flavors into it. So as you can see, we've mixed it all together. It did end up being a little too yellow, which I think I've added way too much turmeric to it, but it's fine. So now we're just going to take it off the heat, and we're going to set it into a bowl and let it cool down. So now we'll add the last remainder bit of the coriander, and we're going to mix it in and set it aside so that it cools down as well. So as you can see, both our fillings are ready. So now we'll set them aside so that they cool down while we work on the dough. So now we'll work on the dough. You can mix it by hand. I think it usually is done by hand, but I do not have the strength to mix the dough by hand. So I'll use a stand mixer just so that it's more convenient and easier this way. So we're going to add in the flour and the salt. And we'll start to add in the water slowly until we get the consistency that we need, which needs to be soft, so not too sticky but then not too dense. We'll add the water until we get that consistency. So I've added some water, and I'm just going to mix, and I'll keep adding in the water until I get the desired consistency. So as you can see, we finished kneading the dough, and as you can see, it's nice and soft and bouncy. So now we're just going to form it into a ball, and we're going to put it back into the bowl. We'll spray it with some oil, and we'll cover it and let it rest for about 20 minutes. So after letting the dough rest for 20 to 30 minutes, we've shaped it into little balls. So we got 9 in total, and now we have the tawa, I believe it's called, heating up. We also have some flour and some oil. Usually they use ghee, but we don't use ghee, so we also have our fillings here, and now we'll start shaping them. So in order to prepare the paratha, here you're just going to put flour on the surface and a little on the dough, and just flatten it out using your hand at first. And once flat enough, you can use a roller. Just try to get it on the rounder side. So once flat enough, we're going to add in the filling. This is the potato filling. You're just going to try and spread it a little bit flat. And now this is the complicated procedure, and you're just going to try to bring it together. So once you've shaped it into a bowl, you can cut this off, but I don't see why. So we're just going to insert it in, and now we're just going to try to shape it into a round or a circular shape. So once you've shaped it into a circular shape, now we're just going to flour the surface from the bottom as well as a little on the top, just to avoid sticking. And we're going to try to spread it into a round shape, but also as thin as possible. So once you spread it as round and also as thin as possible without the filling leaking or anything, now we're just going to take it and we're going to cook it. Now we're going to wait for it to cook a little bit before we flip it. So after a few minutes, now we're just going to flip it, and we're going to start spraying it with some oil, as well as brushing it. They usually spray it with ghee, but like I mentioned, we don't use ghee. So now we're going to flip it again and repeat the same process. And we're going to continue flipping it every few minutes, every few moments. Spread it with some oil, and we'll continue this until it's nice and crispy. So this is what it looks like once it's ready. As you can see, it's nice and crispy. So we're going to take it off the heat, and we're going to place it with the other ones, and we'll continue doing these. Continue this process until we finish all our dough. So I'll make one more with you guys, and then I'll continue making them. I'll stop filming and continue making. So I'll make this one with gobi with you guys. So this is the gobi filling, or the cauliflower filling. So I'm just going to film the remainder of it in time lapse, but we're going to just try to gather it around like we did with the other one. We'll repeat the same procedure, it's just that this time the filling is different. So now that it looks ready, we're just going to take it off the heat, and we're going to set it differently from the aloo parathas, just so we can distinguish between the two. And we're going to cover it, and we're going to continue this process with all of them until we run out of dough and mixture. So this is what they look like. They look so beautiful, they smell amazing. So to go along with them, I've served them with some cucumber raita, and here I believe this half has the cauliflower and this half has the potato. Could be the other way around. I decided to just mix them around for some suspense in the family, so whoever tries anything, they have to eat the full thing. They can't complain whether it's cauliflower or potato. I'm going to try one at random. This is the cauliflower one, as you can see, and as you can see, they're very separate. The layers are separate, so it's not all sticky. The filling looks so good. So I'm going to try dipping it in just to see what difference in taste does it have. Wow. So on its own, it tastes great, amazing, great flavors. You get that little hint of spice. You get all those amazing spices and the combination together. And when you dip it in the cucumber raita, it has this hint of refreshingness. So it's really great together. They're really great together. So I highly recommend trying them because they're amazing and they taste far better when they're homemade rather than when you buy them outside or when you know, get a frozen one. So I highly recommend making these because they are so worth it. So this brings us to the end of today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and if you like this kind of content, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and follow me on my social media so you guys can support me to make more content. I'm available on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Discord. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.